Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was the dulcet tones of Cognificent Cognitive Talks, Cog Music. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Living History's Mysteries with us tonight, and he's going to discuss what we're going to be doing very soon. However, till then, I've got Ozark Yeoman, as usual.
Russia, reporters were literally yelling at Biden, why not take him out the SWIFT system? That's the international trading system because the American dollar is used to trade oil. And oil is the currency of the world, and it is the basis for energy. Well, Biden destroyed our energy. He destroyed our energy. And again, this is all part of the World Economic Forum plan, the new green energy deal that's not even really green. Europe is in a bad position where their energies are expensive. Our energy is expensive. The cost of everything, foods, goods, services, transportation, everything. Part of the reason the truckers are already angry is because energy costs and fuel costs and transport are already through the roof, and it's affecting absolutely everything. We've got gas production in the
That's true. Absolutely everything. Every drop of fuel you pull up, it's going to cost you. Everything you move is going to cost you a drop of fuel. That's the way that works. So the more fuel costs, the more of a hidden tax exists on everyone. You can't even fight it because it's just at the pump. It's not the petroleum company's fault. It's not the government's fault. It's not your fault. And it's not my fault. Somebody's fault. Nobody knows who. Interesting. All right, let's get the man up here. Where's your buttons at, bud? Let's see. Nope, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to do this. Yeah, see, we're professionals. We can do this. How you doing today, brother?
My buttons. I'm doing good, bud. How'd you?
That's pretty good. I had a beautiful day today. We had a little bit of breeze, about 60, 73, 74, something like that. It's beautiful.
We're at our day's high right now of 26 degrees.
Oh no, we don't. No, sir.
See, but at least we didn't get any snow today.
I know.
Little miracles.
You should move. Fix that problem right up. Just head south.
I agree completely. I've been trying to talk the wife into it, but with her grandma's health, no.
Seriously, eyeballing Tennessee. I'm not even joking. They have some very, very comfortable. It's the type of land that you can bake half an apple pie on, but other than that, it's very comfortable rates on land, dude. You can pick up something awesome for cheap.
I got family down there.
I got family everywhere. All right, so let's take a pitch at what your channel is. Explain to everybody what it is that you do. I'm gonna give you the big screen. You just tell them what it is that it's all about. There you go, Bo.
Well, my channel originally started off as just a history channel, and back in April of 2019, 2020. We started switching over to parahistorical. We don't just go out and do paranormal investigations. There has to be some kind of history involved. And because, I mean, what is the paranormal besides an echo of history? And that's pretty much what we do now, are history's mysteries. And we do a lot of parahistorical investigations.
All right. So
all over the Midwest.
Is you look for historical sites that had historical events, and you go there with the intention of contacting the historical spirits that may be occupying that area.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it.
That's brilliant. I love it, dude. I love it. Oh, it's fantastic. I had a Bigfoot hunter in a couple of weeks ago, and he was the most dead serious man you ever met. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved having a serious conversation with that man about what he does. All right, so I'm assuming you're using some kind of equipment that you're going after these para-historical events.
Oh yeah. We have K2 meters. We have EMF detectors. We have voice boxes. We have voice recorders. You know, we're always looking to upgrade, and I know that your viewers can see. You know, we have the PayPal link in here. That money goes to getting like paranormal pucks, EM field emitters, new equipment.
Paranormal puck.
A paranormal puck, like a hockey puck.
Okay, a hockey puck. What is a That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Uh, a puck is basically it's an EM field emitter. When you turn it on, it emits EM energy into the air and gives, everybody that's gone on a paranormal investigation has been plagued with their devices losing battery power quickly. Right. Well, by theory, an EM puck emits energy for the spirits to feed on, so they don't feed on your equipment batteries and stuff as quick.
All right. So I went on a ghost hunt when I was younger, and I've never told this story in public. This will be the first time anybody's ever heard it. Are you willing to give me a minute? Because it's
sure,
pretty good.
Go for it.
All right. So a couple of buddies of mine decided to, back during the big ghost hunter craze back in the mid 90s when sightings and all that was going on, they decided they were going to go do some ghost hunting. And after having gone on a couple of different hunts, they found these couple of goth chicks that was willing to go with them. Now, these guys, they weren't exactly alpha chads, right? And they had a couple of really hot chicks hanging out with them. So when they asked me, would I like to go on a ghost hunt, I said, sure. So we went out to the old ice factory down by the river. Everything good happens down by the river. So we went out to the old ice factory down by the river, and we're wandering around in there, and they're running around with their little gizmos and things, and it's making noises and stuff. And I grew up in that swamp. I was, I wasn't 8 miles from my house. I thought we were going somewhere. So I'm walking around, and they're having their whole willies and getting chills and being touched and all that stuff. And there's a bunch, dude, I could not describe how many cobwebs there are in this place. I'm sure they were touched by all kinds of stuff. You get what I'm saying, right? It was a creepy place. They were already creeped out. They had creeped themselves up. And I was kind of creeped out until I realized where we were going. Just an old abandoned ice factory from pre-Civil War era. It's been down there for 150 years. It'll be down there for another 150 years. And I don't know any real history about it, but there's like this vault area built in there where there's still a functional door that you can swing shut. And every now and then hobos will stay in there. So we're wandering around the place. And when we first get there, there are 2 cold Corona beers sitting right on the edge of the docking bay, right? And you can't get there by car. You have to walk in. And when I walked up, I saw the 2, I'm talking glistening. They look like they just come out of a cooler. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I turned my body and looked back, and they were gone. And I went, oh, okay. So, like I said, I traveled that whole area by canoe back in the day, like all the time. I'd stay there occasionally if I got caught in a storm out there. It's above the flood line and it's dry, and there's no reason not to, except there might be some other hobo staying there when you show up. So we wander around for a while, and the whole time you can hear things happening just around the corner from where we're at. Just around the corner. And finally, I'm like, I realized there's at least one person in this building with us, and they're very sneaky. They're very good. But there's just evidence, like the dust on the floor has been disturbed and stuff, and the people with me have not cottoned to the fact that there's another person here, and they're freaking out. They're hearing this stuff, and there's things actually happening. And finally, I'm like, look, guys, we're going to give this poor old man a heart attack if we keep messing around in here, because they were walking around with like night vision cameras in the dark. This guy was sneaking around of his own volition and staying out of sight. And I had respect for him, right? So we all head back towards the car, and they're loading everything up. They're like, I really feel like we were being watched. I was like, yes, we were. And I turned around, reached in the back of the car, pulled out about 2 cold Dr. Peppers, walked them up on the edge of the steps, set them down. I was like, sorry we bothered y'all. Went and got in the truck, and we left and went home. And it was a couple of days before, when they were talking about how creepy and how extra it was, that I was like, y'all realize we upset some poor hobos that were staying over in the ice cooler. That's why we didn't go to the ice cooler, because I was pretty sure they were in the ice cooler. And I'm pretty sure they went in there and pulled the door shut. But because y'all were using the night vision stuff, and I was using a blink light, I could see, and y'all could not. So I'm not sure exactly what they were looking for with the night vision, but you know, it's a good effort, I guess. But when you're out there doing that stuff, let me ask you this. When you're out there doing that stuff, do you ever become overly self-aware of what's going on? Like, do the people around you help you get into the mood of doing paranormal research? Because it has to be a mood kind of thing, right?
I don't know if it's as much a mood kind of thing. If that's the case, then I'd be in the mood every day.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, all right. It's a passion. I got you. I love passion.
It is.
So,
It is. It's a passion. I mean, I love, especially, you know, like our most recent one. We went to a Masonic lodge in Paw Paw, Michigan, and we knew nothing of the history of this place. There was nothing documented. And all we knew is this was the second building that was used as a Masonic temple in that town. And
what
after
happened to
going
the
there and well, it just kind of, they outgrew it. And we assumed they just moved into this other building. Well, we then found out they built this new building just for the Masonic temple. So, I mean, you know, they started in that town in 1883. They got their new building like 1888, 1890, something like that. So what was on that location beforehand is the mystery, because we ran into the children's spirits. I actually played patty cake with a little girl named Gabby right on camera. I mean, we have it all right there on camera with the paranormal music box and everything else just lighting up like crazy when I'm patty caking with her.
I can't remember who sent me your video, but sent me one of the videos where you were in some really cool place. I don't know how to explain it better than that. It was an old cool place where you were sitting around talking with folks, and I didn't watch all of it. I sat through a few minutes, so I was like, oh yeah, I need to talk to this guy. I need to get him in so I can talk to him. Because I mean, a lot of this stuff has to do with your perception of reality. If you perceive reality as being a concrete and tactile thing that can only be affected through physical manifestation, then you're living a pretty simplistic form of life, and you're missing out on the rest of the universe that we don't know about.
And you know, it's really funny that you touched on that, because if you look at my older videos, you'll only see me and my buddy Mark, which is probably the greatest historian out there. He will spend days and days and days studying the location of a 2 or 3 hour investigation. And he belongs to a large group of historian friends from Gettysburg, which we got to do late October 2 years ago. And they contacted him last night, early this morning, and said, we can no longer be friends because now you're a ghostie.
Is that what they're calling them? Sounds
yeah, that's what they call us, is ghosties. But I mean, here's people who have been friends for a decade, and because he wants to hunt history, he wants to do paranormal investigations or parahistorical investigations, now they can't be friends because they don't buy into that possibility that life after death does exist. And, you know, it really tore him up. And I told him, I said, what did your parents always tell you? If these people can't respect you for the things you like, then they're not your friends.
Right.
They don't care about you. They only care about how you. And it's sad that adults act like that. I mean, you expect that out of 9 and 10-year-old kids, but when 40 and 50-year-old adults act like that, it's kind of, yeah.
I know, man. I got some old friends that I can't even associate with anymore because they might find out my politics. And if they do, see, apparently I escaped persecution for years because I like blue shirts.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a political statement. I just like blue. I always have. So by not even exaggerating, by wearing blue shirts, I managed to completely dodge the weird right-wing thing that happened. They just, nobody ever looked at me, and I went, okay. Blue shirts, the simplest camouflage ever. Plus, it's very slimming.
It is. It really projects that manly figure that we want as we get older.
Oh, I kind of got an extra spare tire hanging around just in case, you know. We might have us an ice age.
Possible.
Keep me warm with my blubber. That's what I do. How about you? No, I don't get too terrible.
I don't get. I should say I don't get cold that easily.
No, I'm one of those weird polar bears. Like as a kid, even today, if I decide I'm going swimming, I really don't care if it's freezing or 80. I mean, I might give a little going into the water, but if I'm going swimming, I'm going swimming. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. That's immaterial.
Yeah.
I always said I don't respect the weather doesn't respect me, so why should I respect the weather?
Well, yeah, I agree, and especially years like this where Mother Nature obviously did not go out and get her box of Midol before the year started. So,
oh yeah, they ain't done yet. We ain't done with the winter yet. That whole winter scene is still a thing that's happening. Come on now, we're not even supposed to do that. Oh, I got rid of those. All right. Okay, so you cover basically anything historical, and is it anything paranormal or anything parahistorical?
Right, the way the channel is set up now, we cover anything related to the mysteries that history left behind. The soiled dove video that you're showing right now on the old channel, I had done one that hit almost 90,000 views, and somebody requested when I started the channel again that I do another soiled dove video. But normally we do any of the mysteries that history left behind. So that could be urban legends, that could be myths, that could be cryptids, that could be hauntings, that could be anything.
That's my favorite, cryptids. I love cryptids. I love fairies. Anything that normal people would consider silly, I think might be just parallel dimensions. Even ghosts. That's kind of my assumption on ghosts, is that even the historical ones may be simply a parallel dimension that's bleeding over visually and looks similar to a Civil War uniform, or looks similar to a Revolutionary War uniform, or just looks like a Midwestern outfit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the viewer writes in a lot of what they see, especially when we're calling from memory. So when asked what something looks like, the intention is to tell you what something like it that looks that way. So it looked like a Civil War uniform doesn't mean they were wearing a Civil War uniform. Just means that's what it looked like.
Yeah. And for being human, perception, and excuse me if I can't say this, but perception is a bitch.
It is.
I mean, it just, what we perceive as something. Now, understand, my first really big investigation was Gettysburg, and we've done 2 separate investigations out there and done a history of Gettysburg video in 2.5 days. And until you get out there at night and it's quiet, there's nobody else around, and you're hearing everything out. And I understand it was like 34 degrees out there, and just all of a sudden the voice box is going off like crazy, and these crickets just everywhere around us. And my buddy Mark looks at the just looks around and says, "Are we surrounded?" And the voice box is clear as day. He says, "Can you see them?" And then all of a sudden the crickets stop.
Nope. Fuck that shit. I'm out. I'll be back at the truck with my rock music.
Yeah, well,
needless
to say, certain appendages of our body crawled back up inside our abdomen, and it's like it's like, are we safe? So I mean, it was a little freaky. I'll be honest with you. And then when we got Cemetery Hill and we start hearing musket fire and people yelling and stuff like that, it's like, oh shit. Wow.
You brought up cryptids, and I brought up fairies and pollywogs and all that stuff. But just hear me out. Bigfoot, yes or no?
I believe so.
I believe so. I believe there is at least a large bipedal mammal that's out there and easily mistaken for a Bigfoot. I just don't think he's that big. All right.
No. Well, I mean, here, before you go any further, Bigfoot, even before white men stepped foot on this continent, every Native American tribe from Maine to New Mexico has had stories of a large bipedal something. Now, these are people who have never talked before, but if you compare the descriptions and you compare the stories, they resemble each other. So if this thing didn't actually exist, where did the stories come from?
Yeah, and you carry it further than that. Anywhere you go around the world and speak to any of the indigenous people, they speak of one of two things. They either talk about the big furry guys in the forest or the little furry guys in the forest.
Yep.
Either or. It's sometimes both. You get up around central Canada up there, and you start running into both territory where there's little furry people and big furry people, and they're just different people.
Yep. I actually wanted to go out and hunt the Michigan Dogman last October. I just couldn't get anybody. I couldn't get anybody that wanted to go for a weekend camping trip to Manistee State Forest and walk those trails at night.
Hey,
nobody wanted to go with me. Now the guys are balls to the wall about it. Yeah, let's go this year. Sure, we'll hunt him down. Okay.
No. I can imagine the sale on that one. Hey, y'all, let's go out to the campground, and we're gonna sleep all day, but we're gonna go walk the trails at night, looking for a large carnivorous bipedal dog man. Are you ready? Hell yeah, get in, I'll drive. Where are we going?
I even wanted to give Tommy Tombstone the pleasure of wearing the T-bone around his neck like a necklace.
Oh yeah.
And he told me to go to hell, and I don't understand why, because I mean he's as balls to the wall about this as I am.
Right. Okay. Well
he's in here. That's the only reason I said something.
Oh, cool. All right, let's do that. Let's go through chat. Let me see if I can figure out who my gold medalist is today. I'm pretty sure it's American Justice of Chat. Yeah, we're going to roll back as far as we can, at least. I usually do this in the first 15 minutes, which lets me get all the way back to the beginning. Ooh, son, y'all have been some chatty Cathys today. Look at y'all. Yep, American Justice of Texas gets the gold sweet tea audits. Welcome to the show. Gets the silver, and Cheese Bear gets the bronze. Way to go. That's the way that works. We got Princess OPD in the house. Good to see you, darling. Judd, the super mod, is also in the house. He's like next level type mod skills. He's amazing.
Oh wow, cool.
Pretty sure him and Cheese Bear learned at the same school of modding. We've got Country Girl 36, aka Kentucky Girl. Come on, ladies. That's hard to say. We'll say it there.
I just call her KG.
KG, there she is. We got Hammer Time Media. Slow Burner has come through the house. I hope he left a like. I'm going to try to get him in here one day when he's not live. But he's live all the time. Every time I pick up my phone, he's got a new live stream going. I don't know what to do. Parlap Moves finally put out a video the other day. Apparently he moved. Let's see. Welcome to the show, brothers. Good to see you again. We got Mark Wilson. Hello. So chatty. Everybody. Snark and Sass, welcome back, honey. It's good to see you. Mr. Self-Destruction, it's good to see you. Ron Sivan 313, he's here. Oh, I just broke something. What did I break? Is this still working?
I can hear you.
Okay. I lost track of what I was doing. Mark Wilson.
Ron Savon was the last one.
Yeah. Now it's just everybody talking to each other. Where's everybody else?
Yep. Sharing links and sharing their own and sharing each other's.
Yeah, well, that's what this is all about. A lot of the Tommy amongst the tombstones. I caught one of his videos. This was about a week ago, maybe. I think it was him.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, just at night, wandered around in the cemetery. I don't know whether he was just freeform talking or quoting some kind of prose. I'm unsure, but it was very interesting. It was one of those things where you just kind of go, yeah.
Tommy's my dude. Tommy's part of my group, Midwest Parahistoric Society. I bumped into Tommy a few months ago, and I had to go out and do a cemetery investigation with him. And he's a badass little dude. I mean, for only being like 26 years old, he knows stuff. And I brought him in and formed the group, and now we've got Tommy amongst the tombstone, Randy's Real Paranormal, Southern Michigan Paranormals, and Living History's Mysteries.
I'm totally going to hit you up for a list of those folks, and I'm going to try to cover as much of them as I can in the time that I have, because I love all that stuff. all of it. I love all of it. It's great. I love anything that has to do with doing something different because I mean, think about how many drones are out there just getting up, doing their thing. They go and they do it, and they do it every day. I've done it, and man, it just tickles me pink that there are people out there doing something they're passionate about. It doesn't matter how silly it might seem to somebody else. If it matters to you, do it. Just go to it and do it. Don't stop until you do it
exactly
right.
It.
We got an ATL auditor.
That's exactly it.
We got. That might cover everybody. Covered this self-destruction.
And see, I love how you've got your chat set up with everybody sharing each other's links and stuff like that. I mean, that's what YouTube should be all about.
Right.
It's helping each other grow.
Welcome in, big man. It's good to see you. Oh, baby, we're out of video over there, ain't we? We got to put something else back there. Yep. What is this one? Let's see. 300 views. You got 15 likes on it. Kabam. Okay. The Harper brothers, America's first serial killers.
Yep. I was starting to say, I was looking at the cave setting behind me, and yeah, that's down in southern Illinois on the Ohio River. The Hart brothers were from out east, and they were actually serial killers during Revolutionary War era. And when the last Hart brother was killed, he said that he had killed over 30 people, but they think it was over 50 people total. I mean, this man was so sick in the head that he took his own child and smashed her against a tree to shut her up from crying so they couldn't be caught. His own infant daughter. And that cave right there is called Cave-In Rock. It's right on the Ohio River in southern Illinois. They had hooked up with river pirates. And the river pirates would basically, they'd hit the flatboats, they'd rob people, they'd send them on to St. Louis or whatever. The Hart brothers joined in. The Hart brothers, after they robbed them, would take them up to the top of that cliff above that cave, and they would strip them naked, put a blindfold on them, and push them off the edge of the cliff. They didn't want to leave survivors behind.
Right.
So I'm actually trying to get the guys to take a road trip down to Cave-In Rock State Park, where we could do some metal detecting in the cave, do some paranormal investigating in the cave, and also do the history of the location.
Yeah, man. That's super cool. I love all of that, dude. I can't tell you how much. I'm in such a rural area. It's not very often that we get the opportunity to is that another one of yours? Oh, cool. There's more to it. Awesome.
Yeah, that's the Hart brothers there.
Yeah. Fantastic. It's not often I get to interact with people that are extremely focused on what they do, and it's enjoyable to see people do what they enjoy doing most. And when people are doing the things they love, they put forth the most effort for the least amount of bus and fuss. They'll find the easiest way to do it to produce the best possible content. And really, YouTube should be about promoting this type of content, but instead it's all about promoting those 12 or 14 big guys over there and screw everybody else. So we got to do it ourselves. So remember, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And remember, only you can prevent echo chambers. Yep. 357. Let's see. SIG beats 9mm. Truth be told, audits is in the house. Oh, I got something. I got a thing. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'd have to move my camera, and I'm not going to do it. I'll do it in. I got one of my previous guests, Tom from An Abstract Look. He painted me a painting. I got a painting over here that he did for me, and I just got it. I'm super excited. I can't wait to show people. I've got it up as my banner on my page. Just a little bit of it. A little sneak peek if you want to go look at it. But as soon as we get into After Dark, I'm gonna wiggle around everything so we can get a good look at it. But if I get to moving stuff around right now, I'll never get it back in place, and I'll fiddle with it through the whole show. I know me. All right. So these are the things you've done. Have you got anything in particular planned, like for the channel specific?
I would really like to see this channel grow like my old one was growing. You know, when I lost my old channel because of the 3 fake copyright, I was telling you before the show started, 3 fake copyright strikes from somebody who just got jealous because I put up 3 public photos in the same order that they had in their video. And with YouTube being ran strictly by computer now, there's no one to call to dispute it. No one's manning the phones anymore. It's automated. Please see our public forum to settle your disagreement. And public forum is everybody that's in our chat that just happens to chat on YouTube's chat line. So nobody there was going to be able to tell me how to dispute a copyright strike because there's no one to call. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, when I lost the channel, I lost 4,000 subscribers. I lost 900 videos, and I lost my monetization. And I started over again at 0 on December 1st. And that's why, you know, after, you know, being at this since, you know, March of 2019, I'm only at, you know, 300 some odd subscribers because people are still just finding me. But I would like to see my channel. I'd like to see my channel get to that point where I can dip into those donations and stuff, and I can travel to different locations, like come to where you live at and do investigations in your area, or go to Cheese Bears or Judd, or
we don't have a whole lot of old buildings left over. Sherman wiped most of those out. He just burned them around. There ain't shit. You got,
well, you know, there was that March to the Sea thing, so
yeah, there certainly was. It certainly left an indelible effect. I promise you.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I'm actually surprised. You know, I done a historical reenactment a couple years ago, and they reenacted Sherman's March to the Sea. And one of the things that really impressed me was the Sherman bow ties. Where when they got into Georgia, they started ripping up the rails off the train tracks and heating them on a forge and bending them around trees. Right. So the Confederate forces could not recapture and use these rail systems. And it's like, dude, this thing literally sat on a forge for 6 hours to just get red enough that 12 guys could bend this thing around a tree.
Uncle Billy's
it's like,
boy.
how in the hell did you do it 165 years ago? I mean, this was a forced air fire to get it that hot. I mean, what the hell? How'd they do it 160 years ago with wood and coal? So, I mean, you know, it was incredible that that Sherman was able to pull that shit off.
You ever seen a shim pot?
A what?
A shim pot. I don't know what it's actually called. It's something that the old fogies used to use to make dynamite. Not really dynamite, kissing cousin to dynamite. You take a whole bunch of fat lighter, punk wood, and you put it in a vat of water, and you boil it. You boil it, and you boil it. And you take the wood out, put in new wood. You take the wood out, you put in new wood, and then you let it cool off. When it cools, all the nitrates and stuff will separate out into a thin layer of something very related to nitroglycerin. You skim that up, put it in something about the size of a cigarette, and that stuff goes off like nobody's business, man. I come across a couple of these old things here and there. Most of them are broken now. You almost never find a whole one, but you find these things in the strangest of places. Like if you're wandering around out in the back country and you find a couple of really huge trees, go look around the base of them, you might find one of these things. I don't know why they're there, why the big tree is there. Maybe it's all the stuff that got cooked in the pot or whatever, but it's a big old metal pot with a hole a little bit up off the bottom. And you just cycle the fat wood through, and the accelerant and turpentine and terpenes and all kinds of other stuff dribble out the little hole as you're changing your wood out, and it floats to the top and the water evaporates. It gets more and more concentrated as it goes along. And when you're talking about how do people get a temperature of several thousand degrees to bend steel, that's not as unheard of as you might think. You can set up a proper forced air forge in a good stiff wind. Like, no joke, do low bloom steel. But that's not what they were doing. They had an army, and they had men pumping it. That's how they did it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Virtually endless manpower and horses.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Good old-fashioned hay burners. All right, so tell me this one. What's the creepiest thing, like the just outright creepiest bit that you yourself have experienced that literally chilled you?
Two years ago, myself, Mark's wife, Jessie, and my wife and daughter went to a place called the Schultz Cemetery. And there was myths and legends about this place. It's a round cemetery out in the middle of nowhere. They basically took a woods that no trees grew in a circle inside this place, and they put a cemetery out there. And there have been stories of witches covens doing ceremonies out there and stuff because it's so outside of town. We got out there and we started doing our investigation, and one of the devices that we used kept talking about how they polluted the ground and how they polluted the tree. They gnarled the tree. And clear back at the northeast end of the cemetery is a large concrete platform that has like 16 headstones on it, but the headstones are only 2 feet apart. And, you know, at the end of this is this old tree, and part of this tree goes straight up in the air. Yeah, Tommy went out there. We sent him out there a few months ago, and he didn't have that many experiences. But if you watch our video on this cemetery, Mark literally, number one, we smelt the smell of decay just wafting from all around us. And then all of a sudden we smelt like a honeysuckle. And my wife actually described it as a very sweet smell with an aftertaste of shit.
Oh.
And at the end of that platform is this gnarled old tree. And there was something about that tree. I mean, we literally, Mark was drawn to that tree. My wife got drawn to that tree. And we literally, when it was time to go, had to grab Mark by his belt loops and guide him back to the cars, because all he wanted to do was go back and touch that tree. And even when my wife and daughter and I got ready to leave, she turned on the car, turned on the brights, and stared at that tree. She swore something was coming from that tree. And I mean, I literally had to pop her in the arm a couple times and say, okay, it's time to go. Remember, you're the one that said it was time to leave. And we left. And Mark and I have actually been back once or twice since then. And once again, he felt a draw to that tree. So we've decided not to go back again. So, I mean, that's probably the creepiest. That one, and a local cemetery we went to where I actually got a set of glowing eyes coming out of a mausoleum door. and I caught it on film. That one scared the hell out of me in editing, because it was the Lee family who one of the members actually survived. He and his wife survived the sinking of the Titanic. And we kept hearing 999 over the voice box, and couldn't understand why, because it was documented. There was only 7 people in that mausoleum, but there were 9 slots. And we had walked away and just left it recording, and actually got a set of glowing white eyes coming through the gate of that mausoleum. And I mean, that literally made the hair on the back of my neck stand up when I was doing my editing and putting the video together for that. I had to go and just stare at it for a second. And it's like, okay, what could that be? And I just sat and looked at it for like 10 minutes during the editing process. It's like, what in the hell are you? It's just, I run across some shit, make your hair turn white.
ATL was trying to tell you earlier that shadow people are real. He apparently is a real believer in it. I like ATL.
Oh, I agree, ATL. I agree. In our last investigation there at that Masonic temple, we were in the basement, and Tommy Tombstone and one of our other investigators, Kennedy, they were looking. There used to be tunnels that went under the road to adjoin businesses, and they had a way to travel back and forth between businesses during the harsh winters. And the tunnels had since caved in, but we were down in the basement, and they've straight up seen shadow figures peeking out around corners in these caves or these tunnels and stuff. So, oh yeah, most definitely, I agree, ATL. They are very real.
Well, we're at that point in the show where I do a little thing. I call it a YouTube paleontology, and I got a little bit that I do before I do it. I imagine everybody's probably getting tired of hearing it, but I love it. It's the silliest thing on earth. It's greatness itself, if it works.
You know about cars? Yes, I'm a paleontologist. Oh, it's okay. There's
Dynamite
in this bag too. I am a paleontologist. I'm a paleontologist. Paleontologists study really old stuff.
Like crackers.
Deary.
That's from Deary Off the Wall, one of the greatest movies ever made. Stars a bowl of mud.
Paleontologist.
I'm a paleontologist, but I'm a YouTube paleontologist. That's totally different. We go and find your oldest video and let it play in the background while we
Ever
talk to you.
do. It was the story of the Hatfields and the McCoys and the feud that made legend.
Yep. All right. So you started this channel because your previous channel got deuced out for reasons. Yeah, the
Yeah.
hiccups. What got you into the paranormal history thing in the first place? I mean, there had to be a particular event, something like, oh, I'd like to do this. Hey, Bigfoot Anon, welcome to the show. It's good to see you, brother.
Hey, Bigfoot. Good to see you, bud. I grew up in a house that originally started off as a one-room cabin in the mid 19th century, and somewhere around the 1870s, there was an old man living there whose family lived in a city that was about 13 miles away, and they rode out there in the wagon in like early October. And they told him, winter's supposed to be really bad, Dad. Come back in the city with us. We'll close the house. We'll close the cabin up, and we'll come back in the spring. He's like, no, me and your mom built this place. We're gonna stay here. Well, in April they came back out when weather permitted, and they found him and his dog starved to death sitting there in his cabin. So that was the first death. They started slowly building onto the house, and built the other 7 rooms downstairs, and then they built the 3 rooms upstairs. And it from 1935 to 1955, there was 2 more deaths in a house. So there was 2 girls, one that hung themselves in a barn just outside of the house, and then one that hung themselves a staircase railing that led up to where our bedrooms were. So, we grew up with paranormal activity in the house, hearing voices, people coming up and down the stairs when no one was there, knocking, stuff like that. And I've lived in 3 other haunted locations since then. And when I started really looking at what was popular on YouTube, I thought, okay, well, we could go out and we could check out historic sites. And when we would get to a certain site, things would happen. And it's like, and it seemed almost paranormal. And that's when I actually adopted the belief that what is the paranormal besides that echo of history. And so in April of 2020, we started going out and doing parahistoric investigations. And I realized there was no other parahistoric investigators out there. So I actually, I registered the name parahistoric. We were more than paranormal investigators.
Right.
If you've got a haunted house or something like that Grandpa died in, we're not really interested. I mean, we'll come and we'll help you to cleanse the house and give some relief to Grandpa's spirit or whatever. But it's the places that have been around for 160, 170, 200 years, 250 years. Those are the places we're really interested in. The myth, the legend, the urban legend of these different historic locations. And it's blown up. I mean, it's blown up. It's become a passion now, searching out those echoes from the past. I mean, I'm a 30-year historical reenactor. I've done everything from pre-colonization to the cowboy era. I've done Civil War for 20 years, and going to these locations and listening to the echoes, it's become a passion. It's become a piece of me now, and I mean, that's pretty much it.
I dig it. I dig it super deep. All right, so you've got about 4 minutes left. Do you have any particular videos planned? Any particular channels you'd like to shout out? Anything like that?
Well, I definitely want to shout out the other channels in the Midwest Parahistoric Society. You know, Tommy Amongst the Tombstones, that's my dude. That's my adopted son now. Awesome guy, straight up balls to the wall. He don't fear anything. I say that loosely. If you watched our most recent video, the one from the Masonic Temple in Paw Paw, Michigan, you'll see him almost pee down his leg at the end of it. But you know, yeah, and it takes some serious shit to scare that kid, but it did it. It did it. The other one of our other members of the Midwest Parahistoric Society is Randy's Real Paranormal. Randy Statler does an incredible job on his editing. He's awesome, dude. Puts out some very, very cool videos. Our mentor, God love him. Our mentor investigator is Danny Holroyd from Kalamazoo, Michigan. He is the head of Southern Michigan Paranormals. This dude has been going out and doing paranormal investigating for over 20 years.
Cool. You
know, questions and stuff. My God, this dude has he has seen shit that make your hair turn white. I mean, just crazy stuff. Of course, of course, we have our psychic medium, Heather. She's incredible. Our other new member, Kennedy.
I would love to get an interview with her. The psychic medium, does she have a YouTube channel?
No, she does not. She joined in with Randy and Kennedy K-Dog. She has joined in with Tommy. And then our cameramen, my God, John and Joe. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't catch half the crazy crap we catch. Those guys are on the ball. So it's an amazing group, man, and it's an amazing group of people. We were actually just talking today about actually setting up a Midwest Parahistoric Society channel where we can all compile our videos on the channel. So that's something that's in the works. Of course, we've got conventions we're putting on this year. If you look in my videos, I think you'll see one for Ghostorama. Right. That's a convention that we're helping to host in August right here in mid-Michigan, mid-southwest Michigan. It's going to be an all-day event. It's at the Poorhouse Museum. There used to be a hospital on site that's no longer there, but the Poorhouse Museum is haunted. There's a lot of documented experiences there, but we're going to do a full day. We have bands coming in. We have the Mystery Machine coming in. We have Ecto-1 coming in, which, by the way, Danny is also the head of the Kalamazoo Ghostbusters and the Great Lakes Ghostbuster Coalition. So, of course, I have to run the modified patch, the F Ghosts patch. So, great group.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong, but today's quotes are Gandhi. They're all from Gandhi.
Oh, cool.
I'm running out of people. Yeah, I'm running out of people that have enough quotes to do an hour. They're going to start being collections. Up to this point, I've tried to do one particular person. It's not going to be possible much longer. I got one more person behind this that actually has a long enough section of quotes to be used for an hour straight. But we're not going to be able to do it individual for very much longer.
I actually live by those type of quotes. I've got one that always hangs right up here to my right that says, "The kindness you put out in the world has a way of finding its way back to you." I tell my daughter all the time, everything that happens in the dark comes to the light. You know,
Right.
things like that. You know, it's those little things. The way you treat other people is the rent you pay for your time here.
That's a good one. I like that.
You
I've heard
know,
you say that
look,
before. That's a really good one.
yeah, I mean, I just believe that you should always be honest. You should always be upfront. You should always be completely transparent with folks. Because the more transparent you are, the more honest you are, the more real you are, the more friends you have. So the more true friends you have. You've always got those snowflakes out there that can't handle the truth, but you've always got real friends as long as you're 100% transparent with them. So,
well, you know, the truth doesn't need to be defended. You don't have to. It's like
it
a lie.
shouldn't.
You don't have to defend it. It is perfectly unassailable by itself. People can throw fiction at truth and it will not have any effect on it because the truth is simply what is. It is. So it is immutable. It cannot be changed.
Yep.
And that's a comforting thought in a cold, cold, distant world. Hey man, you know what that means? You did it. You did a show. You did the whole thing. You did a good job. I appreciate it.
Cool. I enjoyed it. I love coming out and joining other folks. It's kind of nice to be on the kicking back end where I don't have to ask all the questions.
Right? You get to just sit there and say whatever comes to mind when the time comes, and it's perfect every time. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I like having the conversation with you. It was great. I'm gonna actually. Do you want to take a minute and talk to everybody, or are we good?
We're good. We're good.
All right, I'm gonna.
I think I've been open and transparent enough with everybody in here. If they want to come over and become part of my family, by God, we do 3 videos a week, 6 live streams every morning and evening, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My Friday nights are usually it's Ghost to Ghost PM, which is my live stream interviews. I always try to have historians or demonologists or paranormal investigators or ufologists or cryptid hunters or
I'd like
whatever
to dip
on
that.
there.
If you don't mind me perusing some of your previous guests, I'd like to dip into some of those folks to go find some esoterica to go over. I got a few folks that
Go for it.
Yeah, there's 2 for life right there. He's previous guest. He's a good feller. Tried to hook me up with meeting NC Tyrant Hunter the other day, but my deafness, my inability to hear interfered with that whole scene. It happens all the time, man. I hear some directions. I think I understand them. I get where I'm going, and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm actually working right now to try to get Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters on, but I think they're filming their new season right now. So I might have to wait for that one. Of course, I had Goran from Paranormal Search on last night. Next week, I'm going to have Chris and Dakota from Bald and Bonkers, one from Scotland, one from Oregon. And then, of course, you know, I've been working with Devilish and some of the others to try to get them on. So, I mean, I try to keep interesting for everybody, a little bit of everything.
Oh, you got a great show.
Is that a DeLorean sitting back here?
Dude, God, I hope not. No, sir.
Oh, yep, that's a DeLorean.
Where? On the video?
Yeah, it just rose up in the sky and vanished.
Okay.
Hey, we got to time travel around here any way we possibly can, and if it means a DeLorean once in a while, by God, there's no better way to go.
All right, I'm gonna set you backstage. I appreciate you coming in, brother. You have a good one. I'll be back up with you.
All right.
Oh, wrong button. I'm doing it wrong. I'm a professional. We're professionals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. We're gonna wrap this up and go into Sasquatch After Dark. I'll drop the link in the down in the chat. Anybody wants to come up can. We'll discuss whatever happens to come to mind. And just remember, my guests will be sticking around. Therefore, previous guests are preferred. future guests are secondarily preferred, and any trolling to get you deuced out faster to make your head spin. If you don't believe me, try it. See what happens. Judd, Cheesy, they are not playing. They will de-link you just as quick as they threw your link. And that's totally approved by Sasquatch. So, you know, we're going to play us out with a big old banging jump cut straight into the total afterworld of the button that I was supposed to push a few seconds ago. Why is this always so hard?
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks, don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Ranting Robert Shannon. I'm the troll's troll.